Mercury, the messenger, is heading into Pisces on the 2nd of March, where he's going to travel until the 19th. And during that journey in the watery lands that belong to Jupiter, this messenger of the gods will make some kind of big, bold, dramatic statement as he dies in the heart of the sun on St. Patrick's Day, March the 17th, in a conjunction with Neptune as well. This is called a Cazimi. In this case, it's very intense because next to him is Hercules or Heracles, depending on how you wish to pronounce it, the asteroid, as well as Minerva. One is the wisdom and knowledge goddess and also strategy. Hercules is known for his 12 labors, in which over 12 years he redeemed himself for the slaughtering of his family. He killed his own children, something we often don't mention in the Hercules myth. And he did that because he was put under a spell by Hera, the wife of Zeus, who was jealous because he was the illegitimate son of her husband. So let's get talking about how some of this will play out in the world, but in your life as well. Now, to be clear, Mercury in the heart of the sun with Neptune can be an enchanting and magical event that perhaps you can safely harness. I say perhaps. And I was thinking of doing a webinar on this. It's an intense energy because at the same time Mars is also in a square to both Neptune, Mercury, and the sun in this triple conjunction. And so there is a lot of intensity with it. It's huge energy. Let's put it that way. The Sabian symbol for where this is happening at 26 degrees of Pisces, and we round up with Sabian symbols to 27 degrees. The Sabian symbol is a harvest moon. I don't know what a harvest moon makes you think about. It makes me think of the season of harvesting. And when we think of harvesting, we think of reaping and sowing. And in fact, the Sabian symbol for the degree before it in Pisces is the symbol of a new moon. So a new moon and then a harvest moon. So what seeds were planted that are going to be harvested in the world, in your life, and somehow in a connection to this story. Now, let's go ahead and get going on the collective story and the all signs. This is not a long video. I'm hoping this is under an hour for us today. My Mercury videos, like Mercury, are fleet-footed and fast. I'm just trying to get comfy, but you know, I'm in my window seat instead of at my desk because it's a beautiful day in Vancouver. And maybe I should show you the view. And it's sunny and gorgeous and pretty, and it snowed here. I don't know if showing a view is going to work. Can you guys see Vancouver, Canada from my window seat? There you go. And it's just too pretty for me to go into my desk office space kind of vibe, or, you know, not be enjoying what I'm seeing outside my window. So I'm doing the best of both worlds with my blue tea. So if you're new to my channel, my name is Lori Lothian. I am a Western tropical astrologer, not sidereal. I use Hellenistic tools and techniques, including Time Lords and fixed stars. I'm also quite fond of the minor asteroids, thus Hercules or Heracles and Minerva. So both of those stories are going to be embedded within this Mercury Cazimi. Let's talk about what a Cazimi is. A Cazimi means that Mercury is going to go into the heart of the sun from our vantage point on Earth. He can do this in both a retrograde or a direct motion way. He's in direct motion. We will not see him. I mean, you can with like an infrared telescope, but he's like directly in front of the sun, within the heart of the sun. And that Cazimi, which happens around 6:30 or so p.m. Eastern Standard Time on the 17th of the month. Is it p.m. or a.m.? Sorry, 6:35 a.m. ish, yes, at 26 degrees and 33 minutes Eastern Standard Time on the 17th of March. Now, you know, Cazimi is mystical and magical because it's a couple of things. The light of the sun can shine through Mercury. And the sun is divine intelligence, the solar light of that thing that makes the world go round. It's the construct maker, the architect of the universe, the soul of our solar system, our own personal discriminating intelligence and divine essence, core essential energy. And as Mercury goes into this connection to the sun shines through Mercury. So there's a power there. Second of all, Mercury is going to consort with the sun. It's called being in the throne of the king or the lap of the king, where he's getting like Santa Claus, right? I think that whole Santa Claus lap thing is an ancient remembrance of how we can sit in the lap of the king. And each planet has a turn, and that's the death of the planet and the rebirth of the planet. The planet goes into the solar heart from our vantage on Earth, and then will come out the other end in a new condition, born again, brand new. So it's kind of a death archetype as well, but Mercury's also getting divine mission instructions from the sun. And as he enters into the heart of the sun and gets ready to exit to the other side of the sun, he is going to be born again. It's really a death and rebirth archetype. He's very much, though, empowered by this process. So Let's talk about what he does when he's in Pisces, except for being in the heart of the sun called Cazimi, giving him special superpowers on the 17th of March. Mercury is debilitated in Pisces. He is not prone to being able to pay attention to details or tell the truth. This is Jupiter's house, right? And Jupiter in Jupiter's signs of Sagittarius and Pisces are both where Mercury is not so good. And it's called being exiled, basically. And what happens here is that, Jupiter is supposed to be guru, light bringer, dispeller of darkness, bringer of light, wisdom and truth. And Mercury is the messenger. And he used to dispense the messengers of Zeus, right? To the other gods, to the mortals. And yet here, he's a mischief maker. He's Loki. He's a trickster. And he often lies and tells mistruths or lies or confabulates when he's in Sagittarius or when he's in Pisces. Now, he's also hooking up with the deception, fog, and illusion god Neptune. So what could this be about? It could be this kind of an archetypal story of until the Cazimi day, the 17th, which Mercury is no longer debilitated by virtue of the heart of the sun narrative, that we're looking at stories to do with confabulation and misinformation. I do want to say this, that Mercury in general, like if you were born with Mercury in Pisces, you could be a mystic, a dreamer, you could channel books, you can talk to archangels, maybe you might be able to interdimensionally perceive things and pay attention to dream messages, but you also may not tell the truth. But you might not tell the truth out of malevolence, but a belief in your own truth. I think that Mercury in Pisces sometimes is like energetically the where you convince yourself of something, like you're lying to yourself, So I'm not so what could be going on in the world is Neptune themes can be about illnesses, also about pandemics, just so you know. Or things like that. And then Mercury's coming into the heart of the sun, which is a powerful place. And there's a square to Mars in Gemini. Now, Gemini Mars, let's go for the collective story. Gemini Mars in like the United States would be the sixth house of open enemies. So, places like Russia or the Ukraine war or China, open enemies to what the United States considers its overt enemies. Whether it's true or not. And, there's that story too that's being activated. And, Mercury will tell the truth, if you ask me, in the heart of the sun. So what kind of truth speak is coming out around the 17th, St. Patrick's Day, even if not on that day, or maybe a day before and after, that Mercury is capable of delivering, more likely the day of the 17th or the day after. Mercury's not yet visible yet, so it may take a while. He needs to get out of the beams of the sun, which will take a couple of weeks. So again, it could be a turning point, critical moment, and then some kind of news cycle story comes out as Mercury wants to speak it to the world. And by that time, he'll no longer be in the sort of delusional space of Pisces, Mercury, Neptune, but he will move into the next sign, which is Aries. So there's a lot of ways to read the sky, and none of them are true or right. They're just all possible. Technically, the part of the sky that this is happening in is the fourth house, say, of the USA in the sibling chart. This is you could call it the home base. You may say it's the White House, but you can also say it's the energy of the opposing party to the ruling party. And so, I don't know, maybe something's going on with the opposing to the ruling party stories during that time. Already, that's a dispensation of news or information to dispel something that was confusing or illusional or diluted. There's a lot going on in the news cycle around the UFOs, the aerial phenomena, the spy balloons. Right now, I'm recording on February 26th. My Patreon community gets this first for $5 a month plus 2 ads free and two Zoom calls with me a month. So if you're into that kind of stuff, you might want to get this ahead of the curve. But long story short, aerial phenomena, shot down, weather balloons, the Nord Stream pipeline being blown up, the expose coming out about that, Russia saying we didn't do it, why would we? Germany getting all up in arms, Joe Biden having telegraphed that should Russia invade Ukraine, that Nord Stream pipeline won't be here. Yeah, there was that. That was public. Of course, Joe may not have had all his thoughts about that. Shouldn't be something I should say before we blow up a pipeline. Sweden going mum. So all of this stuff is in the news cycle, the UFOs, the spy balloons. What are they? The whole Nord Stream pipeline thing, the war in Ukraine, Russia, China storylines, all of this could be a part of what's going on. And pandemic storyline, last hurrahs and disclosures or information can be what this is about. Don't know which, can't tell you for sure. These are themes that could be emerging here. And there may be themes I don't even know about. Who's to say that Mercury with Neptune And the sun, the 12 labors of Hercules, and the wisdom and knowledge goddess Minerva of ancient Greece is an undersea discovery. Yeah, like why not? And the 12 labors it's going to take to dig it up with, submarines or something. We find the lost city of Atlantis. That would be the best outcome for this St. Patrick's Day event or time frame. Now, I'm going to do all signs, and we're going to go through how this can be used or harnessed by you. But I also am just going to talk about the broad theme. What does it mean for Mercury to move through the Pisces zone of your whole sign house sky? Please use whole sign houses. I say this over and over again. I don't care if you love Placidus on the sideline. Every astrologer in YouTube land is treating you like we are talking about whole sign houses for your rising sign, then treating your sun and moon as if it's your ascendant, and then talking about whole sign houses. That's how this game works. And plus, anyway, there's a whole debate with Chris Brennan on the Astrology podcast about whole sign houses because one astrologer clobbered Robert Hand and said that this was all BS. And then there was this whole kerfuffle. Now I want to do a whole video on whole sign houses because it's a game changer for me, game changer for my clients. It has allowed for accurate Time Lord predictions and tools that you cannot use without whole sign houses. So if you want to be predictively accurate, you really often want to use whole sign houses. Whether Placidus and other house systems work for psychological and personality delineation is a whole separate story. I find my chart, it makes no sense to use Placidus. Nothing makes sense in Placidus. I was a journalist. I was a writer, a short fiction writer, third house stuff. In Placidus, I have no planets in my third house, basically. I mean, hardly anything's happening there. And now in a whole sign, they're all there. Journalism, oracle, scrying, fiction writing, poetry, everything I've ever done, third house stuff is in my whole sign house system chart. Okay, there we go. Enough religion. First of all, also, if you're new to my channel and you want to subscribe and hit the like button, it helps my channel grow. If you're watching in the premiere, please hit my like button. You know the drill, guys. You've been around forever. All my regulars, I so appreciate you. This is a pithy video. I'm not going to belabor it. I'm going to do a whole special video in March on this Cazimi. And I'm going to invite people into my webinar that we're going to do on the Cazimi. So, or the night before or on, I'm not sure which. So the Cazimi is happening on March 17th, what day of the week is March 17th? Oh, sorry. Just trying to fix something in my computer. Well, anyway, whatever the day of the week is, I'll show you the screen picture and then we'll do the all signs. All right. So here's what this looks like. So, for those of you who like this thing, and I'm probably going to just spin the wheel today and not just focus on me. So I'll just, because it makes it easy when you're watching it, you just see the sign on the left. That would be the rising sign that we're talking about. I think I'll start with Pisces today, by the way. And that's because it's happening in their sign. And, they always feel like they don't get the special treatment. I'm trying to be a Cam White today, laughing at his latest video holding his brand new mic. This dude, Cam White, he really, I think it's a new mic. He really loves, I love Cam. He really loves to hold the mic. Who are my favorite astrologers on YouTube? Marin Altman, Cam White, and Lada Dunchiva. All right. And I vibe with them a lot. And there are others I vibe with, but those are my top three lately. Okay, so transits. I mean, there are a lot of astrologers I love, but these three are the ones that I consider to be, woke. I mean, unwoke woke. You know what I mean? Like, who know what's really going on. Alrighty, so the non-woke woke, the unwoke woke. Let's get going. So I want to show you what it looks like. You can see that there's this cluster in the sign of Pisces, and the cluster is pointing to the fact that Neptune, we just kept Saturn in here because that's where he is, guys. Yes, Saturn has moved into Pisces. And there's a whole 2 videos in my 2023 big playlist about how that looks for your sign. But you can see here that Neptune at 25 degrees of Pisces, that's Heracles with his little elbow up, who had to do 12 labors to redeem himself. And by the way, the 12 labors, he went to the Oracle of Delphi and said, I can't believe I killed my whole family under a spell by Hera. How can I possibly redeem myself? And the Oracle told him these 12 labors. And then Hera got involved and she twisted it up to make the labors extra hard on him. That mean old Hera, wife of Zeus. And it took him 12 years, but the reward would be immortal life. All right. Although why would you want immortal life if you killed your whole family? You know what I mean? Like, is it worth it? But there's something about tragic, death in this archetype of Hercules with his little arm up and Neptune. Now, Neptune does rule illnesses, including pandemic illnesses. Neptune has been involved in those historically. And having that little Hercules arm of the 12 labors, but the tragedy behind it, the need for redemption, is an interesting narrative. I'll leave it to you to figure that out. Minerva is a dispenser of knowledge and wisdom. You can also say she's kind of like the goddess of here's the truth, because this is what knowledge now we have, what wisdom we have. Wisdom is hindsight 2020 always. That's the problem with wisdom. We don't get it until we look back on situations. And then, of course, we have Mercury in the heart of the sun, getting the sun shining through him. The sun can be leader, political leader, king energy, news coming from on high, about things to do with Neptunian themes. Now, Neptune's a lot of things. It could be different disinformation, misinformation, correction stories. It could be correcting the record on something, dispelling delusion and illusion. Because with Mars is like the fog windshield wiper thingy when your car is all fogged up, and Mars wants to eliminate the fog, and the fog is Neptune. And is this going to eliminate the fog? Because Mars has been in a square to Neptune on and off since August, and there could be obfuscation and lies, deceit, and purposeful, what do you call that thing that people do in spycraft? Purposely sowing disinformation, but there's a name for it. There's a name I'm looking for. I know somebody in the chat box will come up with it. That kind of thing, like operations to give out information that isn't true, false flags. That's not what I'm looking for, but things like that. So a lot of people are wondering if the whole aerial phenomena spy balloon thing isn't just a ruse to either distract from the Nord Stream pipeline story that it was breaking and they knew it was going to break. So what they did was throw out some attention distraction, because the mainstream media, bless their souls, are barely covering lots of stuff. The trail derailment, the toxic spill in Ohio. They're barely talking about the Nord Stream pipeline expose by this investigative reporter who's famous for his uncovering the massacre in the Vietnam War. Was it the My Lai massacre? I think I said it right. And he's got great credentials. Whistleblowers go to him, and a whistleblower went to him and said, well, United States put dynamite under the ocean, the Baltic Sea, where the pipeline, the shallowest part that could connect to the pipeline, and planted it there. And we had Navy divers doing it. Is that true or not? I'm not telling you it's true. Okay, don't tell me I don't know what I'm talking about. I'm telling you what the news cycle stories are saying, alrighty? So there you go. I'm not a political person. I'm an astrologer. And so what happens here is quite possible that with this Mercury sun, there's going to be a disclosure or a revelation or an announcement or a revealing of something to do with stories that have been confusing, nebulous, delusional, misinformation. And the other thing where this purposely put the spycraft stuff of putting disinformation into the public purposefully. I know it'll come to me tomorrow in my sleep or something, what I'm trying to say. Someone will know the word for that. So Mars will clear the fog. This is his third and last pass in a square to Neptune, really. So because of the long 7-month stay in Gemini, which is the house of open enemies for the United States, by the way. So Mars has been there for, August through till now. The United States has been declaring its enemies, right? Russia, China, whatever, pointing the finger at the enemies, having the enemies point the finger back. And so this is also potentially about stories to do with the Ukraine war, stories to do with China, etc. But Neptune's trying to also hide things sometimes and fog them up, and Mars is trying to get that defogger on the windshield going. Lastly, before we do all signs, about the meaning of Mercury moving through Pisces, I'm not going to dive into this triple conjunction. If you want to know more, subscribe to my channel and hit the bell for notification, because I will talk about in intricate detail how this may affect you based on your rising sign in a separate video closer to the 17th of March. That's why subscribing can make sense for you. And, I do teach astrology. Check my Sky Reader class coming up in March. I haven't opened the doors yet. I haven't decided when I'm actually starting the teaching, because I might want to make sure I don't overlap with travel. But the point is that the waitlist has almost 150 people on it. If you want to get in that class, because I won't fill it fully. I can't manage 150 people really. You want to get on the wait list. You want to get the early bird notice. You want to jump in as soon as the doors open. So that's that. 8 weeks, time your best life, be your own astrologer. And the class is called Sky Reader. All right. So the other point I want to make is that Moon Pluto piece up here. The moon is moving quickly, but it happens to be that on the Cazimi, like literally around 6:35 a.m. Eastern Daily Time in the United States, on March the 17th, the moon is conjunct Pluto. That moon Pluto energy is intense. Pluto is anaretic. The moon's moving into Pluto. You know, within a day, like of this, the seven, like literally very, very quickly on the same day into the next day, the moon and Pluto are conjunct. The moon is going to make a connection with the god of the underworld, the god of secrets, the god of death, and the god of toxic spills, the god of things that are hidden from view, that are dark and creepy, you know? Like, remember when Donald Trump was running for election, he kept saying, I'm going to drain the swamp. That's kind of a Neptune statement, swamp, but swamp is also Pluto. Something that's yucky and icky, maybe, and dark and secretive and messy, and you want to clean it up. So the moon coming into this Pluto, and I'm not a Republican or a Democrat, I'm a Canadian, and I'm neither anything in the US of A. As Pluto comes into contact with that moon, and there's this Cazimi, moon represents the public, the masses, the people. Capricorn also is about finances and resources and stock markets often, and also corporate interests. So when we think corporate interest, we think of things like big pharma. When we think corporate interest, we things like Halliburton and the guys who make the jets, you know, the big jet makers and the big guns manufacturers and the oil guys, Halliburton. I'm just making it big corporate interests that are often embedded within the political structures of different nations because they have basically sponsored the politician, so to speak, you know, so help them get elected. So that story can be Pluto moon energy sextiling the Cazimi, flowing to the Cazimi. What disclosures are going to benefit we, the people, the public, the masses, the populace, the moon? That's possible. All right, so what we're going to do is we're going to talk about your sign next, and I'm not going to go into this mashup of this darker story or this more intense story. I'm just going to talk instead about what houses in your chart are being impacted. And we're going to whip around the wheel, and we're not going to do this for very long. Don't forget, if you're in the premiere and you're still tracking with this, hit the like button. And don't forget, there's a harvest moon symbol there on the Sabian symbol for the Cazimi. So it is about harvesting what was sown. And I'm not sure that that's always a positive thing, you know, reap and sow. If you've sown something negative, you'll harvest the not the reward, but the comeuppance, so to speak. Finally, something could come to the public attention about a world leader that, you know, is like a news disclosure of some intensity around the 17th. Yeah. So let's get going. If you are a Pisces sun, moon, and rising sign, this energy of Mercury moving through March the 2nd to the 19th through your first house of identity is a time of year in which you become very mercurial. Now, Mercury is known for being a mind-changing, fickle energy, but also for being adaptable, sociable, and playful. And you may experience adaptable, social, and playful energies during this transit. On the other hand, because you are also experiencing Mercury's willingness to tell untruths, be careful that you don't become the untruth teller. Be excruciatingly careful about your level of authentic speech and honesty. Watch that you don't make delusional and illusional thoughts too, that you convince yourself of something that isn't true. But on the other hand, Mercury here can inspire you to pay attention to your dreams at night, get mystical downloads and messages from beyond this realm. Because Neptune is there, that is very possible. Some of these messages and divine downloads, especially on the Cazimi, can be brought into tangible form and brought into some structural reality. Thank you, Saturn in Pisces. For the most part, it's a day on the Cazimi of being very attuned to the divine energies and being able to harness something magical. But for the whole transit, the bigger theme is you have Mercury in your sign, so you are becoming that way. So it might be just a more sociable, playful, fun, communicative time for you in general. Oh, and one more thing. With Mars in your fourth house, some of this stuff has to do with home and property or real estate and land or where you live. And there's a defogging of the confusion and illusion and delusion around that. Look for some support from mentors, allies, and people who have your back. Pluto, moon in the 11th, especially for an older sibling. Oops. Apologize. I meant to move ahead by hours, not by days. Pisces got to go first. I'm so happy for them. So Aries, sun, moon, and rising sign. I hope this is in a position where I'm not making reverb on my mic or anything. I just need my mouse. I should have had my mouse handy. Anyway, um, so us Aries people, Aries sun and moon, so I can really resonate. Yeah, guys. Well, guess what? This is very like, get your dream journal out, like get your like meditation cushion, squat on it for freaking all day on the 17th of March. But the whole vibe of Mercury here in your 12th house from March the 2nd to the to the 19th, I'm going to be channeling a new book. So I channeled The Coming Age of Miracles, A Way of Miracles. I'm finishing The Way of Miracles, and then I'm going to be channeling The Children of Adam, The Children of Light. Long story short, I will be channeling a book. What are you doing as an Aries that you can connect to the dream world, the Akashic records, the other dimensions, hypnosis, past lives, your inner life, your spiritual life, your enlightenment life? All of these things are Mercury going through Pisces in the 12th house. And with Neptune there, it's on steroids. And Saturn, some of the things you channel or download or dream about at night, because Mercury's a dream messenger, 12th house can bring you dreams. This is going to be something that's going to be extra specially useful that you can bring into super tangible form. So yes, you may find that what you dream of at night or what you download is going to work for you in a big way. It's going to support your career, your power in your career, your popularity with the people, and your public appeal, as well as anything you're doing in that magical place is also connected to third house of writing, the third house of trips and travel, third house of younger sibling and siblings in general. Some of you can connect those dots if you try. Your online world, your website, all of that stuff, that's also connected, by the way, to the third house. So social media, website stuff. So marketing, selling maybe as well. So how is this going to be going up for you? Maybe a new download for a course you want to teach. You can teach in the third house or understand or take a course, or also write, or also online market and sell something. For the most part, this is a very soulful experience for you and very subtle. If you don't pay attention to it, it won't pay attention to you. I'm encouraging you, therefore, not to take this for granted if you're an Aries rising, especially, and secondarily Sun and Moon. So Taurus, Sun, Moon, and Rising, having this Mercury transit moving through the sky in the part of your sky that represents your friends and allies is positive, except that you have to be careful that friends and allies are telling you the truth. I mean, let's just call a spade, right? We do have that condition there of, the confabulator, Mercury in Pisces. Certainly not on the Cazimi day, then truth could be spoken for sure with the sun backing up Mercury. I would connect in this day to any allies and friends that phone you, call you, email, text you. Guys, of course, on the 17th, they're going to be good news and good messages and positive experiences. But the general gist of the 2nd of the month through to the 19th is you're going to be more playful, sociable, and you're going to go out and see friends, because your large social group of networking and belonging and connecting with friends is very 11th house. Now, just being sociable, sure, but also watch out for that Neptune until the Cazimi day. There could be a lot of sociability around escapism, drugs, alcohol, and partying, or just, that kind of behavior. And also Saturn here is helping you get down and get real with what you wished to dream into being in your life, your hopes and wishes and dreams house. And now Saturn is trying to bring that to fruition over the next 3 years. And now Mercury is getting his first touch with the sun. You might get a mission, instruction, divine energy download about what your biggest dream, hope, and wish is for your life. This is a great gains from your career house. Things are confusing around getting a great gain. Then heart of the sun day, you may have an aha about how to reap some great gains from your purpose, career, and work house. And, there's some support from the 9th house of legal matters, the courts, higher education, long distance travel, etc. So you've got some love up from the Pluto energy powering you up in the 11th as well. This could even be like a great gain from a legal matter on your behalf, a great gain in your coming from a foreign shore. There's so many ways that could show up. A third marriage can be the 9th house in one of the 2 systems that they use in India. Third marriage powering things up here. Patriarchal and father figures can be the 9th house as well. Supportive energies coming from that part of the sky. Mars has been, squaring Neptune as he moves through your 2nd house for a while. Ever since last August, this has given you confusion about your finances, basically, especially for Taurus rising. A lot of stress about money, a lot of uncertainty, a lot of fog. And Mars is going to clear the fog on the financial resources, possessions, part of your story, because of this particular defogging square to the entire 11th house, but particularly that Cazimi on the 17th. Expect some kind of financial clearing of the confusion if you've had any financial confusion on your story, especially Taurus rising people. sometimes also, of course, sun and moon. All right, moving into the next sign. We're talking now about you, Gemini rising, especially sun and moon most secondarily. Still watching me in the premiere, hit my like button. New to my channel, subscribe, and check out my description box for everything I have to offer. Gemini, what happens here is that you've had Mars going through the house of you. I'm going to start there. Since last August, I hope that's made you more decisive, more firm, more boundaried, more action oriented. It's maybe cleared you up a bit about areas of pro-con lists and new directionality. So as Mars is here too, he's a part of that Cazimi. Let's talk in general though. Every year Mercury will spend some time in your 10th house. This allows you to be really good in your work when it comes to marketing and selling, and also communicating with others in the workplace or with your audience or clients or whatever you do. Just being able to harness Mercury in good ways. Of course, when he's in debility, you have to be careful about, over speaking or over promising or speaking things that sound really good, inspiring, motivational and true, but you can't deliver, or the bosses can't deliver. So be careful for that. As Mercury goes through here on the 2nd to the 19th of the month, you may find that one of the features is going to be some new ideas, especially on the 17th on that Cazimi, coming from down high from your boss, superior, or if you're that person in your own business, especially your own downloads about how you can bring into tangible, real form some of the dreams and highest wishes you have for your career and purpose and your reputation as well. You don't have to have a job for this. If you're a student, your career and reputation is about being a student, right? So what are you doing in the world? If you're retired, what are you doing in the world? I always say that to retirees. If all you're doing is playing golf, no offense, really. But, in India, it's a time of sadhana, seeking your spiritual truth, and then hoping to give back as the crone and wise men to the world. All right. And, there's support from Pluto moon in your 8th house. Now, that could be a chunk of money, a severance package, an inheritance money, a bank loan, a tax rebate, but there's some kind of money story that's coming through, especially around the 17th, but connected all the time, not the moon, but the Pluto thing sort of flowing toward that Mercury transit. Now, secrets belong to the 8th house. Mercury spills them, but they may not all be the truth. But look for secrets, especially family or spousal secrets, to spill out maybe in a positive way during the entirety of the transit, really, but maybe even more so around the 17th when that Cazimi hits. But it's secrets that need to be spilled. It's a sextile, all right? And it will help you move forward with greater clarity and decision-making power. Cancer, sun, moon, and rising sign. I'm going to be right back. I'm going to go get something to make a pillow situation more comfortable here. I keep wiggling around. I know that's, some people are going to say something negative to me about it. Let me just pause. Let me jack up a couple of pillows. Oh my God, that's better. Now I found the perfect pillow if I want to do window seat astrology with you guys and sip my tea, that is so much more comfortable than the one I was sitting on. Okay, now I figured it out. All right. Let's keep going. Yeah, it helps when I look at the screen when I'm often looking at this, what I'm showing you, I'm often looking at. Okay, so back to the screen share of the picture of the sky. So you can always remember how this thing looks, right? Like you can see the angles moving with the signs. And you see how these are whole sign houses, not Placidus, not Coke, not Campanus. These are whole sign houses. What the ancients were using was whole sign houses all of the time, except for length of life determinations. Quite often, porphyry was used. They understood that there were quadrant-based house systems back in the day, and in India as well. I'm just saying that this is what we're using because this is the main way of doing stuff. All right. So Cancer, sun, moon, and rising sign. This is a Mercury movement through your 9th house that happens every year. Mercury moving through your 9th house is going to bring you more in touch with your purpose, your true purpose, your dharma, things to do with God and religion, spirituality, temples, and truth, courts, book publishing, publications, basically, academic environments, colleges and universities, knowledge and wisdom. Father figures in third marriages, and I probably forgot something else. It's a wealth house, it's a Lakshmi house, and it's a luck house. And sometimes it involves father figures as well. Well, all of that said and done, Mercury going through this part of your sky, your ninth house, he's going to actually say what he has to say here. So this can be literally, this can be things to do with reading inspirational books, connecting to inspirational speakers, connecting to some motivational energy that really gets you going every year. Certainly you could travel to a foreign land or shore or plan that trip with Mercury's travel through the ninth house. And some of you Cancer risings will do just that. As he moves through here, he's got some solidity from Saturn wanting to make things real and tangible. And then, of course, Neptune and Mercury up here definitely could be some kind of spiritual inspiration guru, spiritual ashram retreat kind of vibe. Hercules is the labors thereof. What is going to be something you need to really work at maybe and get that wisdom and knowledge extracted? This could definitely look like studying for exams. This also can look like the hard work it takes, the labor to get off to that foreign land, to study with your teacher, your guru, your mentor, your guide, something like that. Mercury does like to study and research and understand things. And this is a ninth house of higher education. For the most part, you've got this energy of Mars having moved through your 12th house, helping you get rid of addiction, self-undoing, self-defeating patterns and habits since last August. A lot of you Cancers are really cleaning up your act, and this is important. There's a last defogging of the confusion, especially around that Cazimi on the 17th, which I'll do a whole video on. And, you know, you may lean into a deeper meaning of your life as a result of what happens on St. Patrick's Day there or thereabouts. Power from Pluto, support from your spouse, business partners, audience, and others in your life, marketplace, clients, powerful support from them with that moon Pluto. Something you do in the public could be like to your audience, clients, marketplace could be very powerfully popular and quite successful, because the moon and Pluto are together in the 7th, especially on the 17th, right? We're talking about that Cazimi. I'll be doing a whole video on that Cazimi though, so stay tuned. Long story short, the only thing to watch for is promises from people who are not telling you the truth about spiritual truth, religion, God. Don't run after any old guru or spiritual advisor. Wait, think, ponder. Is it true? Is it real? All right, that kind of thing. Some confusion can happen, especially also with legal matters. Ooh, yeah. So until Mercury gets out of there on the 19th, you know, you may not want to set that court date, or you might try to change it. It just is kind of like, yeah, I don't know. I don't like the Mercury debilitated in the house of the god of truth, right? And justice and truth is a Jupiter house, and Mercury is prone to slippery, slimy ways here sometimes. However, on the Cazimi, if you're a writer or a creator of publications, you could channel a bestseller for some of you, Cancer, Sun, Moon, and Risings around the 17th. Leo, Sun, Moon, and Rising sign. Well, this is a Mercury transit from March the 2nd to the 19th through your 8th house of chunky money. I've always called it that because it's money that you don't earn in increments, but it comes to you in a chunk, like an inheritance, a tax rebate. It's money that you can borrow and share with the bank, with a stock investment. Because when you buy a stock, you're buying a share in a company, the resources of your partner in business or love, and you share those resources. And that's the 8th house money. Also, did I say inheritance? Yeah. And so this part of the sky has Mercury action every year, and this is the time when it's happening. Mercury goes through here. It's not an ideal time to buy a stock or even sell a stock, because you may not be getting the right information you need to do that successfully. Even mortgages and bank loans can be rather obfuscated, foggy, and confusing, except for March 17th when things are clear, because of the Cazimi that I mentioned earlier. Mars going through here, Mercury going through here is in a square to Mars, and that's going to be a story perhaps that, you know, Mars has been trying to defog some confusion around your money, especially as it applies to things to do with your career gains, taxes, insurance payouts, inheritances, eldest sibling, and all of this stuff. And Mars is clearing the fog on the windshield around the 17th for sure with that Cazimi. So maybe wait till the 17th onward before making any monetary decisions of great importance to your life. You got power from Pluto in Capricorn with the moon in your 6th house of debts, real and imagined, you know, like indenturedness, indebtedness. And so if you have outstanding debt, that you need to pay to creditors or to friends or whatever, or even they owe you money sometimes. There is Pluto powering up around some kind of debt story. It can be a debt relief. Pluto and the moon are powering up around pets and tenancies and rentals and leases as well. Now, this is a positive energy. Pluto is sextiling the whole 8th house active part of your sky. You need wisdom and knowledge in order to make executive decisions around money and even debt repayments. So give it some time, Leo. Give it a little bit more time to get that Cazimi energy connecting the dots for you around the 17th. That way Mercury will not be telling untrue stories, and you will have the clear information you need. Even if it's just to buy a pet that's expensive, wait till the 17th before you put your money down on some kind of rare breed that's going to cost you a fortune. All right. All right, Virgo, sun, moon, and rising. My daughter, rising Virgo. My best friend, Virgo, rising sun. My son, Virgo sun. You guys know the drill. I get examples from family and friends. I try not to use clients unless I'm really careful. I don't want them to listen to this and go, oh, she's talking about me. Alrighty, so basically the rising sign, Virgos especially, this is about your marriage. Now, I don't mean like here comes the bride or groom. You could be married because you live with someone, or this is a monogamous long-term love story. It sometimes is about business partnerships and audience and clients, but the main meaning is marriage, right? The 7th house is significant other as well as others. So there's a big energy going on here. I mean, don't forget, Mercury can be about deception and not telling the truth when he's in the sign of Jupiter, in this case Pisces, and it could be your partner's afraid to speak something or doesn't tell you the truth, or there's some kind of untruthfulness going on, maybe that maybe there's a what do you call it, like a collusion between you and your partner not to speak the truth because the truth is too painful to speak. And as Mercury goes through here around the 17th of the month of March, truth time, truth telling time, or clarity around truth, or things to do with the marriage and truth, business partners as well. Now, Saturn is trying to make your marriage or business partnership stable, foundationally secure, kicking the tires, making sure there's not a crack in the foundation or a crack in the engine block, or this is actually, since this is Pisces, there's not a crack in the dam of the marriage or the business partnership, and making sure it's stable, getting a mechanical engineering assessment here. And so that's what Saturn's going to do. And he's just getting in there on March the 7th. He'll be there for 3 years till February of 26, more or less. So this will either make or break your marriage, so to speak, or your business partnership. It will make it solid as a rock because everything's checking out and we're working to make building new solid foundations, or sometimes it can end it. If you're single, it can bring in a new long-term karmic relationship, someone with an age difference 7 years older or younger, maybe. But for the most part, though, I'm saying this transit of Mercury is really testing the truth speak in your relationship. Saturn wants to make things solid, and Mars wants to clear up the confusion. Now, look at that Mars in the 10th house. For some of you Virgos, there could be tension in the workspace, or even some kind of conflict regarding work and your marriage. Like, I don't know, you're spending too much time at work. Have you been like, what's going on? There's tension between something going on in the workspace. Mars up there since last August, and your marriage house, that square, has been there since then. And there's a lot of clearing the confusion, clearing the fog, clearing the air, or something like that with this last Mars-Neptune square, which is happening on the 17th in a Cazimi energy. We love the Cazimi because it's going to be pure, clean, clear, divine flow of something good, defogging. Pluto, power in the 5th house of sexuality. And Pluto in the 5th house is obsession or sexual obsession. Woo! So be careful for that. I mean, some of you may be having a fatal attraction story going on here, but it's also just your sexuality, and Pluto is going deep and deeper into authentic sexual truth. So some sexual truth, some romantic truth, some romantic expose. What is the word I want? Disclosure going on. Now, honestly, I don't know your life, you guys. If you have somebody, this is what it's about. If you don't, you can meet somebody new under this Pluto from the 5th to the whole Mercury in the 7th, getting in touch with some new partner. And this is very intense, but positive, and it's very deep and profound, and all truths are spoken, all secrets are revealed, especially sexual secrets or something like that. Whew, it's intense energy. Moon Pluto, be careful for pregnancy or bad news about pregnancy or difficult stories about pregnancy. I'm not trying to scare you. Obviously, if you're quite well along in a pregnancy, I'm not talking about you. I'm just saying, okay, you got pregnant. You're going to tell your partner, or you had the abortion, didn't tell them, you're going to tell your partner. These kinds of narratives look very very there in the sky in the month of, well, during this transit. Okay. But there's more positive than negative here, because I would say that having a Cazimi in the marriage house is a rebirth and a reset in terms of themes of speaking the truth and being honest and clear with each other. All right. Especially around romantic and sexual energy. And also around children. And also around the themes of what gives each of you joy and pleasure. And being really, I don't know, disclosing of these things to each other. Now, I made it sound like it's only a romantic story. Some of these themes can be parlayed to critical honesty with a business partner, a client, some other significant person in your life. A boss, telling the boss a story that the boss needs to hear, that kind of thing. Libra, sun, moon, and rising sign. Libra, the energy here, a Cazimi energy. Well, first of all, Mercury from the 2nd of the month of March to the 19th is doing his yearly transit through your 6th house. The 6th house is your pets, your tenants and leasing agreements, your debts, real and karmic, and also your health and work routines. So Mercury, every time he comes through here, is probably confusing you about things to do with your health, especially with Neptune here. A lot of Libra risings have had, like, your medical results don't tell what's really going on. Like the doctors go, hey, there's something wrong with your blood work. We can't figure out why you're so tired or whatever. So Mercury doesn't help here. He gives that information that's not true or it's confusing. The good news is there's a Cazimi here on the 17th, and if anything's wrong with your health, you're going to be able to get like a clear beat on what's going on. You'll finally get the right test or the right result or something like that. When it comes to your work routines and stuff like that, anything connected to Mercury, which would be emails, phone calls, texts, Zoom, whatever, there's changes or there's developments going on here. And Saturn would like to bring stability and better structures to that. So you might finally get a new laptop, etc. You might, invest in some kind of new technology of communication during that transit. I think that there's a need to consider that there's wisdom and knowledge and 12 labors to also go through here during this transit and this Cazimi in particular. So it's really asking you about what kind of deep wisdom and knowledge you need to extract regarding the themes of the work and health stuff. If you are looking at this as a flow to the 10th house, and especially if you're floating midheaven is in the whole sign 10th house, this definitely offers up some developments around career work stuff, right? Career work stuff. I mean, Mercury here could be like gossipy, untruth speak going on in the workspace with colleagues or coworkers or employees or that kind of thing. But then the Cazimi day kind of seals the deal, rebirth of Mercury in the heart of the sun on the 17th, sun shining through, Saturn midwiving the whole thing. I don't know. Feels like there could be a change up in the office or career place if you have such a thing like, a hierarchical career place that you go to. There could be some big breakthrough change up around who's in charge and the power structure shifting in your organization or corporation or whatever it is you're doing around that Cazimi on the 17th. Mars has been squaring and will be squaring on Neptune, but has been squaring on and off ever since 2020 August, and now this is the final square. I think he's going to try to clear up the confusion or the fog or the shroud of some uncertainty in your work and health area. This also can apply to pets, debts, and stuff like that. But the 9th house square is coming from Mars is squaring from the 9th. It may have something to do with legal matters, courts, justice, academics, things to do with book publishing and work, if that matters to you, things to do with your third marriage. These are all the themes from which the square is happening. And lastly, you do have power from Pluto and Moon from the 4th house, good for real estate. Therefore, renting a new place, renting out a place, buying a place, selling a place, clearing debts, clearing mortgages, getting a loan, whatever. These sorts of things look powerfully yay you, especially around the 17th. Alrighty, Cazimi day. All right, Scorpio. So it's interesting, Mars, your ruler, has been moving through your 8th house of chunky money and shared resources with partner and love partner and business partner people, as well as the occult mysteries ever since last August. Maybe you've been diving into your tarot, or maybe you've been trying to argue and sort out money stories with the one you're with or your business partner. This is a square. So it's been like Mercury, your ruler Mars has been squaring Neptune since last August and on and off twice before. And so you're trying to clear some confusion around these things as it applies to romantic love or your children. So money and romance, money and children, money and joy and play and pleasure stories are trying to be sorted out somehow. Maybe you're trying to tighten the budget on playful spending, leisure travel, things like that, or your children spending all your money or misspending money or whatever. Now, Mercury comes into your fifth house on the 2nd of March and leaves on the 19th, and he will try to, I guess, allow for a lot of communications about romance, sex, children, money, pleasure, leisure, joy, travel, the muse. All right. And it's good for you if you're an artist because Mercury and Neptune can be channeling the muse and getting in touch with divine inspiration as a general theme. But muse inspiration aside, your children can be telling you untruths if they're old enough to figure that out. And so can romantic partners. So be careful for that, except for Cazimi Day on the 17th of March, where things are crystal darn clear and all truth is available, as well as wisdom and knowledge. This is not a good time to speculate, buy a risky stock, put a bunch of money down on a bet and try to win money when Mercury is here. I don't like that, except for Cazimi Day on St. Patrick's Day, the 17th, and otherwise stay clear of that kind of thing. And Mars is squaring from your 8th house of chunky money, as I mentioned, so it's definitely not a good time to take speculative risks and put money down on a stock that could be quite disastrous, basically. And then the Pluto energy in your 3rd house, this definitely could involve some powerful opportunity to learn something, to travel, opening up during this transit that would be good for you, that inspires you, that is harnessing a natural gift or skill or talent that you have. Ideal time to say, I've always wanted to learn to play the oboe, and you're already really good at the violin, and go for it. This is also really good for a powerful journey or trip, especially if it's around pleasure and leisure travel or romantic travel, planning or taking it. But Cazimi in particular is offering up a portal. So if you want to take a romantic getaway trip with the one you love, not too far from home around St. Patrick's Day, that would be lovely. And it could be quite amazing, actually, and quite really deepen the connection you have with the one you're with. I mean, Saturn's going to put a dampener on joy, play, fun, pleasure, and sexuality and romance a little bit as he travels the next 3 years through your 5th house, but it's also solidifying and making more tangible some of these things, including your dreams, your creative energies as well. The output from your muse can be very, very tangible and legacy value over the next 3 years. Let's go with the fiery Sagittarius, people of the world. You guys have this energy of a Mercury transit from the 2nd of the month to the 19th through your 4th house of home, property, private life, residence, mother, ancestors, quiet life, the hearth, the kitchen, the downtime, when people don't see you, what you do in your private, quiet home time. Well, if you're a Sag rising, especially, you may have been looking for your fantasy dream home for a while, since 2011. That search may continue for some of you until 2026. It really depends a lot on the degree of your rising. But Sun and Moon can feel some of that quest for the true home, the fantasy home, you're deluded, eluded, and confused, but you want to find some kind of fantasy home, basically. And so what happens here is Mercury every year comes through and maybe offers an option like, hey, what about this one here? Doesn't it look lovely? And then you go take a look at the potential and you realize, oh, that's like swampland or something. I wouldn't want to live there. So you've got a question mark around that every time this happens. But also Mercury here can say, like, do you want to sell your property? He's a marketer, merchandiser guy, and this is house and property, or do you want to buy a property? Now, unless it's a Cazimi around the 17th, the quality of Mercury's discernment or the messages you have about the property might be a little confusing, if not outright untrue. So just be careful. And also be careful of what's going on in the home in terms of communication, and make sure that you double check all of the statements made by those you live with to make sure they're super true. You could find that with Mercury moving through here as well, he's connecting to that square that's going to be building to Mars, and that's combative communication in the home or disagreements in the home or with someone you're living with. This is a Cazimi moment, however, on the 17th of March, where you can break through combative, confusing, and difficult conversations with your marriage partner or business partner or significant others, especially if it involves your domestic life with them or the decisions to be made around where you wish to live. There could be a real profound breakthrough March 17th in that kind of story. You know, I mean, because Saturn in your fourth house, Sagittarius, is going to try to give you a stable, forever home over the next 3 years. So if you're willing to like kick the tires, check the foundation, make sure that it's stable and real and realistic and sober minded, not pie in the sky, fantastical, just Neptune without any support, you will find in the next 3 years a good, solid, beautiful, and reliable home. Sometimes an elder can live with you, though, with the Saturn transit. But I go into all of those details in my deeper 2 videos about this transit. Check my playlist for that, for 2023 big transits. Hang on. All right, so Pluto's powering something up with the moon, and the moon is conjunct Pluto on the day of the Cazimi on March the 17th. Well, it's a money story. So this is a money story connected to real estate, domestic, private life, and to some degree also to connection to maybe decisions being made in business and love partnerships around money. And Pluto power, moon, energy intensity is focused on positively helping you make those decisions or take those actions to support your possessions, money, and resources story around the 17th, particularly on the Cazimi. So look forward to that. Pluto here is finishing his 2008 to March the 23rd story of being in your second house. You're ready for a change. Hopefully it got you rich. Quite a few of you would have been able to make significant financial gains during that transit if you were using that transit the right way, especially from real estate and property. Okay, so then Capricorns, sun, moon, and rising sign. All right, Cappies, basically we've got a story here of third house stuff. Mercury on March the 2nd through to the 19th moves every year, but those dates this year through your third house, and he's going to help you or not help you around trips and journeys and travel. Now be careful, because Mercury is a patron protector of travelers on the road, and yet he's out of dignity. Therefore, you may book a trip that's not going to be solid, or you may just not trust the shorter travel stories to be all that they seem to be, minus the 17th on the Cazimi day, in which planning or buying or booking a trip or going on a trip around that time can be quite okay. The second other thing that Mercury does here is he's about speech or writing and communicating in general. This is a house of writing, speaking, well, not speaking, but communicating, expressing, and often about writing. So be careful regarding the things that you're speaking or writing or communicating, or that are being communicated to you in written form. Also, things on the internet, like, promising you, this is a classic transit of like, get quick rich scheme, or lose weight in 2 days, or this kind of bullshit that goes on in the online marketing world. Be careful for false promises in that website land, online marketing, targeted stuff that comes at you all the time just because you use a device. I don't believe everything you see during this transit. You could have connections with siblings and conversations going on during this time. Aunts, uncles, nieces, and cousins can be there too. But again, the truth speaker is not so truthful, so wait until the Cazimi or wait till this transit's over. If you want to download, channel, or envision or create some kind of new website, this is going to be quite dreamy on the Cazimi, dreamy on the Cazimi, to come up with the perfect concept, the schema, the color, the right, web copy, etc. Wisdom and knowledge, especially goddess being there, you could really, really stick the landing on a great website design or something like that. On the other hand, if you want to learn something new, because Neptune is here and it could be quite like magical, learning mysterious and magical new agey things, and Saturn's trying to get you grounded to choose the right realistic stuff, you may find that you could try something like that. Study and research and learning can be mercurial. And also, especially on the 17th, that could be a sign that you're on the right track, that this is something you should be learning or teaching for some of you. You got Mars squaring from the 6th house of pets, tenancies, debts, health, and work. You may want to take that trip, but there's too much obligation at work. You may want to travel, but your dog needs you to stay home. Where's the square? But you've been confused and deluded and quite confused around debt, money, health, work, pet, leases. You've been in uncertainty and confusion for a while, right? Ever since last August. I'll give you an example. My my ex-husband is looking at moving to Portugal. He's still renting a place. He hasn't given notice. He's got to move his dog. He's not sure how. He has to get all the paperwork in place. You know, there's confusion with the landlord who says, oh, yes, my Chinese family's going to take back the house anyway. But is that true? I said to him the other day on a walk, I don't think that's true. They just say that. I mean, because I don't know, lease-wise, to break a lease with him, she has to have family moving in. So that's not really what's happening, probably. And, you know, there's all that confusion about what's going on here. And so I would say that the gist of this story is uncertainty around rentals and leases and home and property themes, potentially, just because of the sixth house lease action, pets. And if your floating IC is in the third house, floating because we're using whole sign houses, then it's even more so about the home story, the homeland story. What are you doing at home? Anything else? Yeah, of course, you got Pluto powering up. You are Pluto. You are power. You got this. You know, you've been Plutonized. You're the mafia boss. Now you the boss. You got it. You got your authentic power because Pluto's been there since 2008 going through the house of you. You've been through it. You know, you have. Everybody has. All of you Capricorns. It started back in 2008, 9, 10 for the early Capricorns. You know, these are the late Cappies who are getting all the intensity of Pluto here now in the last 3 or 4 years. So yes, everyone's been through it. Now Pluto's finishing up. So sometimes people say, oh, you know, I had someone the other day go, you know, I'm an Aquarius and I haven't moved at all. You saying us Aquarius just keep moving. I'm going to look at the degree of your Aquarius. Look at the degree of your rising sign. It's a Uranus in the fourth house story. If you are a late degree Aquarius, you ain't seen nothing yet. You still got 2024, 25 into 26 for Uranus to jolt you out of your home. So it's not one size fits all astrology, guys. This is bell curve stuff we're doing here. You got to know the details of your own sky. All right. Finally, for you guys, I would say that you may be coming into more intensity around your intuition and your emotional intelligence around this Cazimi on the 17th, okay? Lean into that moon Pluto in the house of you. Aquarius, sun, moon, rising. Hang on, I'm one of you. And my pillow just went squished out from underneath me, so let's fix the pillow. Yes, I'm moving. I'm moving my body. Oh, get used to it. Oh, I'm not a talking robot head. I'm an Aquarius rising, sun, moon, and rising. I'm a rising. Welcome to your story of Mercury moving through your second house. Yes, money house, earnings, resources, possessions, self-worth, self-value. Sometimes voice, vocation, and calling can be dug under the surface of this house. It's a beautifully intense place for you right now because there's a lot of action going on here in this part of your sky, as you can see. Now, the Pisces zone. Saturn's going to get you richer and richer over the next 3 years if you pay attention to what he wants you to do. Otherwise, you're going to be like clenching your money and saving really hard. Just FYI, listen to my videos for that stuff. Saturn and Pisces for Aquarius rising. However, here we have Mercury on the 2nd of March through until the 19th doing his annual trip through Pisces. Not a good time to buy a possession of any kind. Please don't. Don't buy that car. Don't buy that new expensive laptop or anything like that. I would suggest you wait. Mercury here would be like the slick salesman telling you that it's wonderful until you take it home and realize it's not. You'll have buyer's remorse most likely. Also, when it comes to selling things, impulse to sell something you own, don't wait. Mercury here is not going to give you the best advice, okay? So you might sell something at too low of a price and regret it. It includes stocks as well. Just wait. Just let Mercury get the hell out of here. However, your own speech, this is the house of speech, is also important. You can be prone to speaking maybe in ways that are not truthful, and therefore wait till Mercury gets out of here. Also, if your dentist says you need to have, a root canal, because this is your teeth and face and stuff, don't listen. Wait, give it some time. You may not be getting the full information you need or the true information you need to make that decision. Now, technically as well, because Mercury is moving into contact with Neptune, and this is the house of speech, you may be able to channel something, like get down with some channeling or something like that. Also, you may be able to make money in a Neptune Mercury way, which is through channeling or mysticism or super spiritually weird stuff like that, hypnosis and things like that during this transit. Saturn wants you to bring your dreams into reality and no more foggy, delusional confusion about work and money and and resources. Mars has been squaring your second house on and off ever since last August, and it's been squaring this Neptune story. It's where we have been having, as Aquarians, confusion around our earnings, our voice, our calling, our possessions, and resources as it applies to our children and romantic life. Fifth house. I will use me as an example. Like a lot of my decisions have been revolved around my daughter in the last, in the last 3 years. And some of those decisions have affected my finances, and Mars is straightening me out on that. But also, Mars here is about romantic love and how your resources and your romantic or sexual partner love, or, all of that may have been so confusing for you ever since last August. And I've had a lot of confusion around that myself. Okay. So I won't go into that because but the point is that is now cleared for me as well. Mars is really clearing up things that were confusing to do with resources, children, and partners of romantic interest as well. The fifth house is your independent business enterprise. If you're an entrepreneur, some of this confusion around how to make money in a resourceful way that's really true for who you are, connected to your enterprise and business, has been ongoing, a little confusion, a little illusion, a little uncertainty. But now you're clearing it. Mars is clearing the fog. I guess for me, I'd say, like, for an example, right? I'm just using me because I know me best. I did close my booking calendar down. You can't get in to see me now. People are booking into September and December. Give me a break next year, but that's wonderful. They're doing the birthday reading. But I blocked the calendar off June, July, and August because I was fully booked out, and I couldn't imagine, being obligated to clients that far out. And so I guess that for me, I cleared the fog on a feeling that I need to look at my business model in a different way. That's just simple, right? So you too, if you're an entrepreneur, know what this is about. Finally, the muse, the inspiration. What do you want to download? What inspires you? What creative projects do you want to take on? Now you're going to clear that confusion. Now, the 17th is a particularly yay day for downloading new business ideas, new financial ideas, new resource structures for your business structures. Is the Saturn part. And you could really take the time, if you want, to sort of really lean into that Cazimi on the 17th. Power from Pluto in the 12th house can mean some of the resourceful, powerful business model structures for any of you, whether you're employed or not, can be about foreign shores, foreign lands, payments, processors, Stripe and PayPal, revenue from foreign sources. Also, things to do with travel to foreign shores as well could be coming from that Pluto in the 12th house. Or finally, Pluto, the death knell of your last self-sabotaging, self-undoing habit and pattern around things you put in your mouth. That's cigarettes, vapes, nicotine, I don't know what else, crack cocaine, hopefully not. Too much food, wrong foods, alcohol. So Pluto is finishing up that story, and he's powering into that Cazimi with the moon. You may forever give it up on March 17th, St. Paddy's Day, because it's getting in the way of your resourcefulness in life, that you're holding yourself back with any kind of self-undoing, self-sabotaging pattern, habit, or addiction. And lastly, there is no Pisces. I did them first, but always first. Woohoo! Yay! If you're listening in the live premiere and haven't hit my like button, please do. Thank you, everyone. Today I'm recording on February 26th. This goes to Patreon first. You want to be in my Patreon community, you get this content ahead of everybody else and ad-free, and you get it, sometimes like a month or two before anyone else gets it. So come jump into my Patreon community. I hope to see some of you there for $5 a month. You can always leave if you don't like it. And plus you get to see me in Zoom calls twice a month. And if you upgrade 3 times a month, and there's a lot going on over there in my community. That's one option for you. Check my description box, my website, my courses, everything I do is in the description box below the title of the video. And we are done. Here's the view in Vancouver, Canada to finish up. Oh my God, isn't that pretty? Like, can you see the sky, the mountains, the buildings? Oh my God. There's a famous building that looks like it's going to tip over, and it's called House, I think. Anyway, my daughter works in the gym in that building. Anyway, this is where I live right now, Vancouver, Canada. Thanks, guys. Appreciate all of you. Thank you for helping me vault over 20,000 subscribers yesterday or the day before, 2 days ago. I'm super jazzed. Thank you so much.